Okay.
That one went.
Okay, can you say that what you just said?
Okay. Move the paper towels. So when people come to the class, I give them a name tag. Most of the people I don't know. Give them a name tag, ask them what kind of pressure cooker they already have. Because I don't call it a quick cooker class, I call it a pressure cooking class. And most people have the crock pot version or Ninja, and a few people have had the Instant Pot, and then other brands I've never even heard of. Most people got them for Christmas, and they're still in the box. Like they have no idea what to do with them, or they've had it for a while and they still have no idea what to do with them. So I do 2 recipes: salsa chicken over rice, and then chicken Parmesan pasta. This one takes quite a bit longer, so as soon as everybody's there, they wash hands, we make this recipe, and then I talk about pressure cooking, and then I do that one really quickly. So I have everything prepped, ready to go. I run it like a cooking show, whereas everybody helps make the stuff. But like I've already got my onion wedged, I already have the chicken in here, I already have the salsa measured. So a couple things that make it go a little bit faster, because I keep my classes to like 45 minutes so that they can leave right away if they have to, or they have time to shop. So it's not a Pampered Chef party that they're coming to, it's a class. So in here it's just 2 pounds of chicken. I trimmed it ahead of time and just cut each breast in half. And then taco seasoning. I personally don't like Pampered Chef Southwestern seasoning. I don't think it has enough flavor. I just don't. When we first made this at a team meeting, we did the Southwestern. I just don't like it. I don't know. So just a packet of taco seasoning.
And they all have that.
Yeah, they all have that. I show the kitchen spritzer. I do that on the chicken. Always sell one of these taco seasoning. All right, then ahead of time, I had the jalapeno seeded and cut in here, and then Laura just chopped it up really quickly. So I have somebody use the manual food processor, and then she's gonna add in just 1 wedged onion and chop that up. And then, yeah, however much you wanna throw in there. It was a small onion, so it should all work. So I let pretty much everybody use the processor. Sometimes I have to keep going. There. I showed them how to turn it so a left-handed person can easily use that. That's a tip that everybody seems to like. And we're just getting it real fine. We talk about other things that they could chop with that. Once in a while, somebody has it, and we'll talk about it.
You shake it? Are you shaking it to get the thing in the middle, or
Like if
I'm trying to get a bigger
chunk
chunk
down with the blade.
I do that to mine too.
And then we're gonna just take the blade out and then press 2 cloves of garlic in there. I always ask people, who here buys fresh garlic, a bulb of garlic, and usually somebody does. And so I ask them, tell everybody why you buy fresh garlic and not already mixed in a jar, and then I let everybody do this. Who's had a bad day. So all those little things you do during a cooking show, I do the same thing during a class demonstration. All right, and Laura's just gonna dump all of that on the chicken, and then Candy's gonna grab that salsa. And again, I would have somebody look and see how it's.
Wow. Now, here's a tip. I have a dark countertop too.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you're pouring, sometimes I just have to put my fingers right there because I have a dark countertop, and sometimes when you're pouring, you cannot see those numbers. So I just like put my finger there so that I can see.
Or they could always put it on one of our mats.
Yeah, one of our mats with
Candy always has her fingers with her, though.
I do.
Yes.
True.
Even
something like a cutting board, or if push comes to shove, your hand.
Yeah.
And then, Candy, if you could fill that up with water, 2 cups of water, and we're just gonna use
Just
this.
a touchy.
I don't think that's all it. It's for the rice. Oh, I don't think
It would be nice because then it would go off by itself every time without wiggling the handle.
So I don't mind the salsa flavoring in the water
You
there.
want it in there now?
Sure, you can put it in there. All right, so that's just spread that around. Now we're gonna add the rack. Now, for people that have an Instapot, their rack, the legs are like this tall. So it won't work because the rack has to be touching, like you've got to wiggle it down there so it's touching the bottom of the inner pot. So Instapot people told me they can't do this. So the rack you can buy separately. It's $12. So that's something that you want to encourage people. You know, if your rack has these little tiny legs, buy our rack.
Because if their rack's up higher, their lid might not close all the way. And if it's sitting on top of the chicken, it's not. You have to make sure that everything
It's gotta be
is.
down.
It won't build pressure.
Yeah, or you can't get the lid off later.
Yeah. So that's nice, but I learned that it's under a replacement part. I've learned that the replacement parts are not coming up on the app. So I use the app at my shows, so you have to kind of go on the website, find the number. Okay.
Holly, do you ever add the corn and the black beans to that? Because I always add corn and black beans to mine because it just goes way further. It's really
Corn,
To the rice?
no to the chicken.
Corn doesn't like me very much.
Okay.
So no.
Okay.
But yes, you
Do you use
could.
the canned corn or does it
I use
matter?
canned corn and canned black beans, and it
One of
just
each.
goes way further.
All right, and then I do tell people that our ceramic pot and cradle will fit in any other pressure cooker that's 6 quarts or bigger, but using it in other pressure cookers will void the warranty for the ceramic pot. I don't think people really care about that, but you still need to tell them. Even though it will fit, Pampered Chef hasn't tested it in all 20 different other versions. But I do sell a lot of these at my classes to other people that have the pressure cookers. All right, so then we're just putting the lid on. And I talk about, this is where, let me get it going first. All right, lock the lid, chicken, poultry, press start. So this is where I'll talk about the steam release button, making sure it's flush, making sure the steam icon faces this icon, the red indicator button, it's all the way down because there's not any pressure. You can keep an eye on how it's building because that red indicator button will gradually come up. When it's all the way up, you know it's really close. I'll talk about just our safety features. I mean, it stays cool, which I'm learning everybody else's stays cool as well.
Yes.
Mine are at the top, right.
The handles are on the bottom, which is unique to ours. And then I do talk about that ours has a dessert setting and then a proofing setting, which most people don't know what a proofing setting is. So you talk about how like homemade bread needs to rise or cinnamon rolls and things like that. Oh, okay. Well, let me just get my little sheet here. So no rack. Okay, so pressure cooking basically is for healthy, fast cooking, and it helps retain nutrients better in food, especially vegetables, and it also keeps food longer, warm longer than just doing it on the stove or in the oven. The key is you want to keep this valve away from fingers, face, and cabinets. So I talk about, I have an island as well, but, a lot of people don't. So if your pressure cooker, is sitting on the counter toward the cabinet, before you release it, you need to turn it. And I'll show them actually, really turn it away from your cabinets because it will peel the paint off. Probably the most common mistake people make is that there's not enough liquid in your pressure cooker. You have to have minimum of 1 cup liquid no matter what you're cooking. And for the Instapot, which I've learned, the salsa would not be considered enough liquid. Like it has to be truly a 1 cup liquid for the Instapot, where ours, the 1 cup salsa is enough liquid. So, and I have a team member that has an Instapot, has used it faithfully for years. So she said this recipe would not work in her Instapot. She would have to water the salsa down and add a cup
I wonder why that
of
is.
water. I don't know. They get this burn setting. They have a burn setting on theirs. And
What? It shows
just-
up when it's
it
burning?
shows up when it's burning. It will like flash that it's burning, burn. So ours doesn't have that. Because if you don't have enough liquid, whatever liquid you have in there is going to evaporate before it comes to pressure. So that I see all these light bulbs going off just with that one comment about the importance of liquid.
Right, because it's releasing steam as it's going to pressure.
Yes, and you want to be able to see a little steam come out of here. That's normal, which I've never really thought about that before. But a chemistry teacher was at my first workshop. She said, "Oh, you want that because if there's nothing being released at all, it will build up too much and it will explode." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's good to know." So don't let that freak you out, because I know a lot of people when it first came out, they were posting on Facebook, "Why is steam coming out?" It's fine. So Instapot, you have to have that 1 cup of true liquid water or chicken broth in order to prevent that burn warning to come up. Our quick cooker, there's more flexibility. The liquid can be salsa. But Jenny pointed out at my class that like if this recipe that calls for tomato sauce, make sure it's tomato sauce and you're not using tomato paste. Like her daughter got the wrong thing at the store. Well, paste, that's a big difference.
Yeah,
So there's not enough
liquid.
liquid in that paste.
Right.
Yeah. So we have a sear function. Most people's pressure cooker is a saute function. It's the exact same thing though. But we're going to use the sear function when we do the chicken over here. You've got to deglaze the pan. If the bottom of the inner pot is covered with food, it will affect the inner pot heating up and it will never come to pressure. And the burn warning will come on if you have an Instapot. So that's why it's really important to deglaze the pan. And a lot of people, they're like, "What do you mean deglaze the pan?" They don't know what that means. So I demonstrated with that, but just scraping up all those little bits of meat so that the bottom is completely clear, like nothing's sticking to it. Does that make sense?
Plus it'll give you more flavor.
Yes. If there's a lot of fond on the bottom, it won't be able to create enough steam and come to pressure. So that was something new I learned. When you're doubling a recipe, you don't need to increase the cooking time. It will just take longer to come to pressure. If you're using frozen food, you just need to add a couple more minutes. And I do give them all a chart. So I say refer to the chart. So I give them all the stuff that's at the front of our quick cooker guide. I just give all of them that because I just think that's really helpful. I don't care if they don't have the quick cooker, but like the chicken, it says fresh this amount of time, frozen it's just a couple more minutes. And you really need to pay attention to how heavy your meat is, because if there's a big difference between 1 pound and 2 pounds. You need to make sure that you're paying attention to that. If you modify a recipe, like eliminating an ingredient and it affects the liquid content, it will affect how the recipe turns out. So in that, this isn't as forgiving as like a stock pot on the stove with that. So, like there was one recipe I did, I eliminated the corn, but that was part of the liquid and it didn't cook.
So question on that, for the corn, it's in a liquid, obviously, like the canned corn, but like mushrooms have a lot of inherent moisture in them.
That's true.
So if you take them out, does that affect the moisture content too? Like, is that
I drained the corn, and you would have drained the corn in
Yeah.
that recipe. You're not putting like.
I don't
So
think
it's
you're
all
putting
liquid.
probably enough mushrooms in that it would make a difference.
I was just curious.
I think it
I don't
might
like mushrooms, so I
depend
do this
on
all the time.
the other liquid you have in there.
After you chop it up.
But I just, how some people will, like they'll eliminate like every, and
Right.
it's just like they have to think like, okay, if I'm eliminating something, I gotta possibly put more liquid in.
Right.
I just want people to think about that
Because
because
there's a lot of fruits and vegetables that are mostly water.
yeah,
Right.
Like
There
a
are
cucumber
a lot-
or zucchini.
there's
Well,
a
yeah.
lot
water.
of picky eaters out there that just like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like canned tomatoes, I'm not gonna put this in.
And
Well,
that's
that's a
the
lot of
liquid.
That's
Yeah.
a liquid in that
So
case,
I
yeah.
mentioned that we don't have
Yes.
a huge discussion on it, but I just want them to think like, make sure you've got enough liquid. Some recipes will say naturally released, and people like didn't know what that meant. I said, that's just a fancy way of saying let it sit there and it will release steam naturally. You're not going to really be able to see it, but you need to do that for recipes that have a lot of starch. So your potatoes, applesauce, rice. Now this recipe, Jenny, she does say naturally release it for 10 minutes. So my show on Saturday, I forgot that step and I did manually release it right away and it was fine. I think because of the silicone cover, no rice shot out.
Yeah,
but she said when she's done that in the past, the rice hasn't been, there's been water left in the rice. Haley learned the hard way with applesauce. She had applesauce over the ceiling and everything because she manually released it. Means you press the button and it was still too hot and just stuck.
And liquidy enough to come out.
It just came out everywhere. So you're not going to have a lot of recipes that say naturally release, but if it does, make sure you do it and you just let it sit there. Ours will start to count up once it's done, so you can just keep track, the 10 minutes right on the machine, which is
Does
nice.
that happen on the Instapot too?
No.
Okay.
No. And then I'll say, ours manually switches to warming. And so I'll describe, okay, everybody come look at the little rectangles flashing around. That means it's thinking, it's coming to pressure, it's doing your thing. And I do kind of spin the knob ahead of time and show them, like fish has only two little lines because fish hardly needs any pressure. And so I kind of walk them through the different amounts of pressure. And I say, the machine knows what to do. So when you turn it to chicken, it knows chicken needs a lot of pressure and it does its thing. Like there's not a lot of thinking on our part, as long as you got the 1 cup liquid in there. And then and I show this is how the quick cookers are when people come to the class. I said this is how you want to store your pressure cooker. No matter what kind you have, you want to store the lid upside down on top, and that's because the silicone ring absorbs odors, and so you just want to let it constantly air out. No matter what kind of pressure cooker you have, this is how you want to store it. And I show them how it comes out and how you can put it in the dishwasher. And this is comparable to like if you have a front load washer, you want to keep the washing machine open all the time because that silicone will start to smell. Same concept with this. And people are like, oh, they all have smelled the washing. And then I share, you can get replacement parts for this. Some people have a sweet versus, Mexican. Mine definitely smells like Mexican because I just made this recipe at a show. So I talk about that. So then we come over here. So and you can kind of start to see. I make everybody
see me coming out.
So what questions do you have so far about? I probably won't know the answer. It's about. I'm not a pressure cooking expert, but I asked them if they have any questions. And then right away, we just move over to, I use both my quick cookers. So the one I earned and the one from the director. And this is when I would talk about the sear function, since we're searing for this recipe. But if you're going to do 2 recipes, use both your quick cookers. If you don't have 2 quick cookers, just stick with 1 recipe because the thought of like cleaning this out and people don't want to be there, for a couple hours. They just want a real quick class. So that's why I decided to break into my second quick cooker. So I put this on sear. I hit start. It automatically starts at 20. We're not going to sear for 20 minutes, but I'm just going to use that as a countdown. For the quick cooker chicken, Parmesan pasta, it says just let the oil heat up for a couple minutes. So what I did ahead of time was I just cut a pound, I don't know, it was a pound and a half, just a pound of chicken tenderloins and just into bite-sized pieces. So this recipe is going to cook super fast because the chicken is so small. And I added our garlic and herb rub. I tell them about how you can measure with the cap so that you don't have to dirty a tablespoon, and we actually measure it together. And I pass it around so they can smell it.
How much is in there? 2 tablespoons in a cap or 1?
So in between the 2 grooves is 1. So we did, that's how I measure for my freezer and my workshops. I pass around, let them smell it. They're all gluten-free, things like that. So this recipe, like I've already got the water and the pasta measured out. if somebody's for this recipe, the pasta will be al dente. That's how most recipes are. So if your family likes mushy pasta, maybe add like an extra minute. But this recipe will be al dente. If somebody's using gluten-free pasta or whole wheat pasta, whole wheat takes like a minute longer. Gluten-free, I've never cooked with gluten-free, but somebody said a minute longer.
We did the gluten-free pasta fagioli and it took the same amount of time.
Cool.
So I didn't worry about it when we made the soup with it.
All right, so I just got, all right, my dirty chickens. So now the recipe says, and I don't tell them this, but it says to like do half the chicken, then I just do it all. Because you're not cooking the chicken all the way through. You're just kind of browning it on all sides. So I just do it till it looks good.
I doubled this, and you do have to break it in half, and you double it.
That would make sense. Too much. I mean, right now it's pretty much all covered on the bottom, which is perfect. I don't feel a need to do half and half. So is that what you do? Yeah. I was doing this at home for myself, and I was like, I don't want to, so I just threw it all in there, and it worked. So it says it cooks for 5 to 7 minutes. I usually don't do it that long. And then this is where I tell them about the bread and the cheesecake I made. So I made bread the morning of the class or a few hours before the class. Well, has everybody made the multi-grain bread?
Yeah, good.
It's good. Laura and Cheryl made, you three need to do it. It's really, really good. It takes a little bit of time because you mix it up. You have to use bread flour. Okay. Use it. I mean, it's not expensive or anything, but you have to use bread flour because if you don't, it'll still work, but when you go to cut it, it will kind of fall apart. It's regular. Yeah. So you mix it all up, and then you put it in a ceramic bowl. You do oil in the ceramic bowl, put it in the ceramic bowl, and then you lower it into the quick cooker and hit the proofing setting. So it's not cooking at all. It's just helping it rise. Proofing is automatically 30 minutes. And then you take it out, clean out the bowl a little bit more oil, put the ball of dough back in there, and then I've learned this: unplug your machine. You have to unplug it to trick it that like you're starting over, because if you don't, and I mean it only takes like a minute to like do what you need to do in between proof settings, and the machine will like where are your grippers? I feel a lot of those little microwave grips. These. Make sure you have these, that you use these during the class. I tell a lot of these as well. Yeah. Because then you put the bread back, the dough back in, and you proof it again for another 30 minutes. And the first couple times I made it wouldn't proof the second time. It didn't like doing the exact same thing right away. So somebody on the group said just unplug it, like trick it, unplug it, and then start it over. Let it proofs for another 30 minutes, and then you bake it in the oven for 40 minutes. I first was like, oh, it's going to bake in the quick cooker, and it doesn't. It bakes in the oven. But it's amazing. So I made that ahead of time, and I have that out available as people come, because I either do my classes at 6:30 in the evening or 10:30 on Saturday. So they're usually kind of hungry when they come. I serve that on our wood cutting board, whatever that's called. And then I made the cheesecake the night before. So everybody made the cheesecake, and super easy. I made that the night before. I just do the strawberry sauce on the stove actually, instead of the quick cooker, whatever. So that's how I can highlight the springboard pan, which everybody loves the size of that. Normally cheesecakes, are really, really big. So I talk about that. Hopefully sell a couple of those, talk about the quick cooker. And then really quickly, I talk about the benefits of hosting. Like, I don't make them sit down. It's just real quick while we're making this recipe, the benefits of hosting. And then the signing bonus for the month, which is perfect for January. And then I do pass them the door price. So, all right. So has everybody made this? Sally hasn't made this. Everybody else made it? We made it? Okay. So Sally, it's so easy. The pasta, the water, the sauce gets dumped. 5 minutes. Custom time, 5 minutes. So then I talk about the custom. I forget what it's called on the inside. It's not called custom. But anyway. So the first class I did, Oh, and then I also talk about the deep rate. And if people want to come over and kind of look over just to see that it's on there, some people will do that because if they've
You
never.
can scrape the bits off. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, but some people have never done that before, and maybe in a skillet it doesn't affect the recipe, but for this it will affect it coming to pressure. My first class, I had 13 people. Most of them were half toast. I did get a booking for the summer. They want the quick cooker when it's 60% off. You know, when that 60% off anything bonus comes around. She knows the pantry chef life. Jenny got a booking off of that. She came to just observe, and her very first recruit was at the class, and she wants to host the quick cooker. So Jenny got it. In my second class, I had 7 people. I got 2 cooking bookings. One just happened Saturday. We made this. She's like, I just want to make this again. So she's at 697 in sales. Got a cooking booking, and she's thinking about the business. And my other cooking booking I got is for this Saturday. She already has like 14 people coming. And I got $500 in orders off of those 7 people. So my first class, no orders. 2 down the road bookings. My second class, $500. So I mean, it's hit or miss. I started doing the classes 5 years ago when I wanted to earn Disney level 3. And I said, I will never go a week without being in front of people. So that year I said, anytime I have a week where I don't have a cooking party, I'm doing class in my house. And that's when we were doing the Jeep Cover Baker cooking classes. And it changed to rock crock and then salad in a jar, power cooking, you know. So in the fall, I knew I wanted to do this, but I did not have any time. And then the first week in January, we got nothing. So I'm like, I'm just going to do it. So it definitely paid off for sure. One little old lady spent $300. She bought the quick cooker, even though she already had an Instant Pot. She's like, I liked how you cook this too. I'm going to cook this too. Mm-hmm. Okay. So whatever. Okay. So then I think we hit cancel. And then just scrape it off. So that's pretty much all I got. I do the door fry split, and then it's obviously the food's not all ready, but that gives them, it's kind of a sneaky way to get them to stay in shop while they're waiting for the food.
You use that catalog to put around, or do you
pass them out? I pass out the door fry split, and then they kind of exchange it for a catalog, but I've also got them sitting around. Can you pour this one in help you guys? You can.
That's how
I was
taught.
There's
It's not all of it.
no, it's a little bit off it. All right. Sauce pasta.
Is that the right amount of sauce?
Yeah.
I just got the can off the shelf.
Yeah.
Okay. I buy cheap sauce for
Yeah.
this stuff. Do you?
But I had
I'm Kroger brand
But
for-
my gal
for
was
these
hosting on
recipes.
Saturday. My gal was hosting on Saturday. She was making like I don't know, like a rigatoni recipe, and she didn't know quite what to do. And so she's like, well, I just did what you did at the workshop with the chicken parmesan. I just did the same thing, and it worked out great. And she's like, I never would have been brave enough to do that if I hadn't gone to your class.
Good.
So, all right. Have any of you ever had trouble getting the lid?
Yes.
I
Does
had to hit
anybody
the
know
button.
why?
No.
It's the pressure.
Um,
So if I'm having a hard time getting it off, I
Oh,
press
on.
No, I
thought
will
you
be
said
on
on.
sometimes.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the pressure. So I've had issues getting it on or off. So I'll make sure I press the button again if I want to get it back on, because I've had issues where it won't go on. So I'll press the button and then.
Sometimes I just feel like I'm not lighting it up right or something.
Custom to what?
That's 5 minutes. Cooks so fast.
So I'll put it on
Now, and then
top,
I'll tell
hit the button,
people,
and you'll
The
hear pressure.
recipe says 5 minutes. It's not 5 minutes because it's going to take 10
Right.
to 14 minutes to come to
Get
pressure. So you have to think about that. But still, 20 minutes is a lot faster than,
Yes.
you know.
And you're not watching the stove. And that's kind of
Right, yes.
You don't have to
Walk
stir
away.
anything.
That's what I like. Set them up away. Then I can make this with here.
So like this one's almost, well, it's already to pressure. It's 13 minutes. And so then afterwards, we're going to shred the chicken. I always sell some salad choppers. To the rice, we'll throw into the large serving bowl. I sold a large serving bowl, definitely taking it because it's everywhere because it's the February post bonus. We add the juice from 1 lime to the rice and then cilantro. I didn't see cilantro in there, but it doesn't matter. But I always ask at my shows.
I don't know that I bought it.
It's fine.
I forgot.
I always ask at my shows, is there anybody here that feels like cilantro tastes like soap? Which you either like it or it tastes like soap.
I think it tastes like soap.
Yes, and so I'll leave the cilantro on the side.
Well, it's
People
not going
add
in
it.
because I forgot to buy
Well,
it.
that's good.
Or the soap lady will go first, and then we'll add the cilantro. But we'll shred the chicken, throw the chicken back in with all the juices and stuff, and then pour it over the rice. I like to serve it with avocado just to highlight some of our serving bowls. And then this one, sometimes I do the Parmesan cheese butter panko topping on the top. Sometimes I don't.
Are we going to? Because I have it.
Sure, yeah, you got it.
I mean, does anybody want lettuce or do you want a tortilla wrap?
Oh, so
Because
this
I
you
forgot
can
to
serve it
update.
in lettuce, like good lettuce, or soft tortillas, or just eat it with a fork. It makes a lot, so I tell people like make it once and serve it 3 different ways. 3 nights in a row. It makes great leftovers. Any kind of tips like that you can give.
Do you need help, Laura?
She wanted me to wait until
Yeah, you might, Laura.
everybody else could watch.
This is just a totally different recipe that one of my friends
I
is
do need
making
butter
at
knife.
every show. She's making it as a dessert at every show.
Oh, I should mention I charge $5 for. I do charge $5. 2 reasons. One, you're making a lot of food, and I have team members that will come and watch so that they can do it. They don't have the money to just spend on all these ingredients with the risk of not getting anything back. So I charge $5. Then I give everybody a packet and I tell them it's 4 ingredients and for the recipe packet. If they don't have Pampered Chef's Quick Cooker, this first sheet is just from the Quick Cooker group. I just found it helpful. And then the rest is just the information from the cooking guide and then some of my favorite recipes from the website. So that's all this is. If they own the Quick Cooker, I give them this guide and then just other recipes that I like that I know aren't in the guide. If they already have the guide. Nobody questions about the $5. I just put a basket on the table that says $5 and people just put it in there.
So it's not like you say then you have $5 off your order
No.
or anything like that.
No.
It's just $5.
To cover the food.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fair.
I mean, it's $5 for a full meal plus.
And education.
Yeah, yeah, $5.
No, and as far as the bread, I make sourdough bread, and it takes 12 hours to rise each time.
That's going to go in the dishwasher.
And I proofed it in there, and it did speed up the proofing time for sourdough bread.
Nice.
But it cut it down by at least 3 or 4 hours. So
It's the same with my cinnamon rolls. Because generally I have an hour rise or proof. So it only took the 30 minutes to get it doubled in size. I just put it in here.
do you want to?
You guys switch it to Laura?
This is not, this is not,
So we can shut that off.
yeah, let's shut up because it's
Oh,
not
I don't
hard.
know. Anybody? There you go.
Cheryl, you're ringing.
Now, are people's customers of the Quick Cooker getting the email support?